Hello, I'm Dion Tracy Duckett, estate planning and elder law attorney with Duckett Law LLC. In this video, I'm talking about outright gifts versus gifts in trust. So, first of all, I want to talk about what are outright gifts. Outright gifts are gifts made directly to the beneficiary or the recipient. With those, there's no control, there's no management over the gifts, and there's no creditor protection. So, an outright gift is, say, if you leave your house to your daughter, then a deed gets transferred into your daughter's name. If you leave cash to your daughter or another person, then a check is written to the name of that person. Um, if you have life insurance that has your daughter or another person or your son or anyone listed as the beneficiary, then when you die, the insurance company is going to write that person a check for the amount of the money of the proceeds from the benefit from the life insurance account. So that's an outright gift. It goes straight into the person's name. Gifts in trust, on the other hand, are when your plan, perhaps whether it's a will or a trust, it says, when I die, I want to leave this house in a trust for my daughter or in a trust for my son or other person. Or you can, in your insurance, say, instead of your daughter's name, Karen White, as the beneficiary, you can say the trust for Karen White. So the difference between gifts and trust and gifts, outright gifts, is that you can provide control over distributions. You can be liberal or conservative. You might want to provide incentives, like you want them to get a college degree, you want them to do community service, you want them to be a responsible adult. You can put incentives, you can put controls if you have a younger beneficiary. So if they're not an adult yet, you don't want them to receive, well, they can't. If they're not an adult, they can't receive the gift directly. But as soon as they turn age of majority, if you've made it an outright gift, then that young person is entitled to the cash, and you can't provide controls over it or anything like that. So if you left them a substantial amount of money, what do you think they're going to spend money on? A trip to Hawaii, a new Camaro, or tuition? So with a trust, you can say, I want it to go into a trust. You can provide a trustee who's going to manage that property. And then you can make sure that protections are in place so that they don't blow the inheritance. So it provides for management of the trust assets. You can also provide creditor protection when you leave gifts in trust. When you leave a gift in trust, then you're able to say, I'm putting this property in a trust for the beneficiary, and this property is not to be used as collateral to buy that new car, or to pay bad debts if they're going bankrupt, or to pay for any debts or credit. So you can provide controls on what that can be. So you can provide the creditor protection. And that's one of the benefits for providing a gift in trust versus providing an outright gift. An example that I like to use is the school bus accident. So, say you've left a substantial amount of money. Maybe you've got an insurance policy that has a $100,000 benefit or more, and you say it's going outright to your son. And then, if your son is in a car accident with a school bus and is at fault, then, and several children get hurt, of course, the first line of defense is the insurance. But if there's a judgment and several children were hurt, then that insurance may not cover the full amount of the judgment. And so after that, the creditors, the children who were hurt, are going to go after your son's personal property. So if that insurance check gets paid directly to your son, then as soon as it hits his bank account, it's his personal property, and the creditors may go after it. They may attach it, put a lien on it, or something like that. So if instead you had said that the proceeds from the insurance were to be paid to a trust for your son, then you could have that creditor protection provision. And if you have an independent trustee in place, then the independent trustee can look at the circumstances because they have the discretion to decide whether or not to make a distribution. So when your son says, hey, trustee, I need $10,000, the trustee can look at the circumstances and say, if I um, give $10,000 to the son right now, as soon as it hits his bank account, then that creditor can put a lien on it, garnish it, or go after it. So the trustee who has discretion can decide not to make the distribution. So that's one of the benefits. You can provide creditor protection. The trustee can still pay for things for the son, but the creditor, if the trustee has the discretion to make the decision, then the creditor cannot force the trustee to make that distribution. If, on the other hand, the son, who's an interested trustee, is the trustee of his own trust, then the creditor could go and force the son to make the distribution. So one of the good things about a trust is that if you leave gifts to your beneficiaries in trust, you can provide creditor protection.